Hi guys, well welcome back to my channel. It's been a little while with COVID and everything happening and trying to get a bit of money together to get all my bits and pieces and my steel and my brakes and everything for the chassis build. If you're new to this channel, I'm Michael and I like to do motorcycle related content, be it with my Harley Davidson, my camper trailer, and I'm about to set on a project of building a mini teardrop for the Harley. So I've been waiting on some steel and my brakes and bits and pieces to arrive. It's been a few weeks since I've done a posting. What I'm going to do over this series is build a number of chapters. So today I'm going to lay out the chassis. I've got all my steel and it's arrived. And my brakes and everything have arrived, so it's all good. So today I'm going to basically lay out the chassis design and I'll start welding it up. I don't think I'll video welding, everyone knows how to weld, but I will video it. And for those that are interested in the complete build, what I might do, I might even set up a Patreon page. For those of you that are really interested in everything I do, I might do it for that. But for the general consensus, I'll lay out the chassis, show you what it looks like and what I'm thinking, weld it up, then come back to it and we'll continue from there. This is what my chassis looks like. So I've drawn it in multiple colours. Again, for those that don't know, I'm doing a slide out version. So my rear cabin section is about 1300 millimeters on the chassis. The actual overall design is a bit longer, but I'll show you on the measurements. So there's a 1300 millimeter section in the back, and then there's another 800 section that slides in and out. Mainly I'm doing it for this way because of the weight over the axle. That way I can maximize the length. My internal cabin space is going to be 2100 long when it's fully extended out, but in its travel mode it's only 1700 long, the cabin space, and most of that weight's over the axle, trying to alleviate too much drawbar weight but maximizing my space. It's been a little bit of a head fuck, admittedly, trying to work out how to seal it and get it right. I've done multiple drawings, and then I've basically drawn it to scale on some scrap paper, and I've just stuck it to my wall and worked out angles, and this works, that works, this doesn't work, so I can physically see it in a whole attribute of how it will look. This is what it looks like on my wall. So as you can tell, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's multiple times I've rubbed out lines, and I'm just working out technical issues before I put a welder to it, because it's a lot easier buying a bit of white out than it is buying another 20 meters of steel. So what I've done is I've done it that way. I've got my brakes. So this one I'm putting in electric brakes. They're a 10-inch hub. So this is the left-hand hub. I've gone with a Ford stud pattern. I've picked out some wheels I think I'm going to go with. Leave a comment and see what you think of these wheels. I've got two different styles and two different size wheels. One's got a 155 millimeter tyre and one's got a 165 millimeter tyre. They're both the same price. They're both $166 Australian each, and it's more the style of the rim. So leave a comment in the comment section. Leave a comment in the comment section and tell me which ones you think will be better. They're both basically black mag rims, slightly different style, and they've got polished inserts, so they're black and silver. These will be a standard black tyre that comes with it, but maybe further down the line I'll get some white walls to match the Harley. I don't know, I'll see how it ends up coming up. But I'm thinking of doing the aluminium as a pseudo polished aluminium or a brushed aluminium. So maybe the black and silver will be a nice contrast, but I won't know until I get to the final end for that. But as I said, this stage it's got black tyres. Anyway, it's a Ford rim. They're heavy between the two rims. My springs and my drawbar attachments, the hitch, it's 65 kilos just in those. Unfortunately, in this kit come 1 ton springs. Which are 5 leaves, so I'm going to take a couple of leaves off, and that'll drop them down to about a 700 rating. That's still way heavier than what I need for my trailer. With the steel, it comes with the weights, so I need to add it up and work out the weight of the main chassis. But I've got the steel for the chassis and the 90% of the body. When I ordered it, I forgot to order steel for the rear hatch, but that's only a couple of meters of steel anyway, so I can calculate that out. But I'm still guesstimating at this stage, but I'm aiming at about 220 kilo. And anyone that's driven a Harley, no, braking is not particularly good. That's the reason I've gone with electric brakes. I'm only doing 13-inch wheels because I don't want the trailer to be too high. If I went to a 14-inch wheel, I've got a lot bigger wheel range, but I'm happy the way I've gone. If it turns out it works well and what have you, I want to tow it behind my car, I can always whack a bigger tyre on it. Originally I was going to build it at 1200 wide, the main body, but I've ultimately gone with 1 metre wide. Only because I don't have to alter the bike with the mirrors. My mirrors sit at 1100 wide, and that still gives me clearance to see behind the van. What I noticed with my little camper trailer here, even though it's not as high, it was 1200 wide or 1400 wide, and sometimes it was a bit hard to see around. But I could see over the top, but I couldn't see around it. Well, this caravan's going to be a little bit, or this teardrop's going to be a little bit higher. So I want it to be a little bit narrower. And I hummed and hard and I scribbled and I drew things down in bits and pieces. And I ended up going with just 1 metre wide, which I still think will be plenty. And as I said, if this works out great, I'll build myself another one. If I really think it's a bit wider, I've got people that have asked to buy this one already, and all of this is a drawing. So I may have a future job. So that's what I've done. So what I'll do is I'll do a rough layout, just lay the steel down for the chassis. I've got the metal for the axle as well, but I've ordered a little bit extra for that because until I get my wheels, I can't work out my offset properly, how far I want to be out of the chassis. So I've ordered the axle bar as well. This comes with stub axles, if you've seen my previous videos. So I've got stub axles. As I said, I've got 5 leaf springs. I'm going to drop at least 2 springs off that. It's still going to be way too heavy springs. And maybe further down the track, if I can get super light springs, I will. I was going to go with torsion suspension, but it worked out too expensive for what I'm doing. I'm trying to minimise the weight. 65 kilo brakes don't help, but I'm trying to minimise the weight and the expense. My steel at this stage has only cost me $280. The brakes and all that sort of stuff cost me $480. I had to acquire a little MIG. I've got a gasless MIG here to weld up. I do have a little arc welder, but I'm decided to do it with gasless MIG to see how that works out. I bought myself a metal cut-off saw and things like that, and it's all starting to add up already. That's the reason I think I might start this Patreon page. For those that are really interested in the nitty-gritty and the background of everything else, I'll be able to put extra videos in that. But let's get going and I'll lay it out and we'll see how we go. Okay, so here's a rough layout of what the trailer will look like in its extended mode. I've built the bulk of the chassis from 40 by 40 by 2mm steel. The extension is 20 by 20 by 2.5. The cross members at the rear stop are 50 by 25. The front one is a 40 by 40, which is a part of the sealing process when it's in its travel mode. So this front section is about 880mm long, but that gives me the full length of what I need to do it. The drawbar is 50 by 50 by 3mm, and there's 2 cross braces that go through the second. It's obviously got to be cut off, but that's the basic overall length. So that's what it's going to look like. I want a 45-degree or mitre, I should say. I want a mitre of 45-degree these corners, front and rear. Also, but well, these ones on the end. Is that I need to trim the drawbar back, and that's the axle there, which is 420 centimetres from the back, but the van itself goes an extra 400 as it curves. It comes up in its curve and then goes up. So what I might do now is mitre off these corners, mark them up, mitre them off, and then cut them and weld them up. So then we can actually start on it. As I said, at this stage I don't think I really need to show you me welding. Everyone knows how to weld. So I'll come back to you. Oh, and if you're wondering why I'm dressed a little bit rugged up, it's a balmy 7 degrees here, which is a 45 degrees for the American viewers. And thanks for your patronage, guys. It's nice to see you all come on board. Actually, a lot of my viewers are American, so that's nice that they're looking at different content. Anyway, for now, I'll go back and mitre this off, and I'll get back to you. Okay, well, here we are. So what I've done today is I've mitered the corners for the basic chassis, welded them in, and welded the cross members on. As I said, everyone knows how to weld, so I didn't really film that. So this is the end result at this stage. So it's coming along. I've just positioned the main drawbar, and that'll have braces that go back to here. So it's coming along. Getting it square was the hardest part, and I'm within 0.5 millimetre, so I'm happy with that now. I tried MIG welding it, and I've borrowed this MIG welder, and it's not really mine. So I borrowed this MIG welder, and I think it's underpowered. It only has 2 settings. 50 amp and 90 amp. So for 2 gauge metal I need to weld about 70-75 amp. One's not high enough and the other one's too high because it's only 2mm metal. Well, this isn't, but the rest of it's only 2mm metal, and it kept on blowing holes through it. I put it on 50 amp and with the wire feed, because there's no real gauge. For 50 amp or 70 amp, I need to be about 5 or 6 on a proper MIG, gasless MIG. This has no settings. It's just got a dial that you just kind of turn it. But, you know, the smaller stuff it might be okay for. when I get to welding the vertical struts and stuff, it'll probably be good for that. But for the main structural stuff, I just stuck to my arc welder. I'm comfortable with that and I know how to use that. And I can set the amps on it. So overall it wasn't too bad. A lot of cleaning up from that gasless MIG. The flax wire has a fair bit of splatter. I've got anti-splatter spray, which is basically silicone spray anyway. You spray it around, but there's a lot of splatter and stuff. So at this stage, anything structural, like the chassis and bits and pieces, the springs, when I weld the brackets on for that, I'll do it with the arc welder. But at this stage, I'll leave it for now. If you like this sort of content, give us a like and a thumbs up. It's only going to be a quick one today. The sun's starting to go down as well. It's 7 degrees. Well, it's not even that now. It's about 4 degrees. So it's getting pretty cool. So, yeah, one more quick look. I've just put a little bit of Gale primer on that. The moisture in the air at the moment isn't good, and it just tends to... I come out a little bit earlier and already you could see oxidization. So, yeah, but it's coming along. So give us a like and a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.